couple concepts that we have been working on. A system, remember, means that we will have two. Instead of two equations, it's going to be two inequalities, because of course we are doing inequalities here, greater than, less than. Just a quick review, you don't have to write this down right now because you have this in your notes, but I just want to show you here so you can just watch. When it was two equations, so let me just put over here, when we had a system of two equations, we solved it either by graphing, by the substitution method, by the addition-subtraction method, right? And just as a reminder, when we graph, because we're going to be just graphing this, if your two lines crossed, the solution was that one point that they shared in common. So that's basically what we're going to be looking for today. The other options when we graphed were if they were parallel, they never share any points, this was no solution, or if it was two lines that landed right in the same position, this was infinite solutions because they share all their points. I don't think you'll be seeing any infinite solutions or no solutions, but I'll double check. There might be one or two. Yes, it's raining. It's raining hard. We opened the windows earlier so we could watch it. Okay, well, not open the windows, open the blinds. We're not that crazy. Okay, we might be crazy, but not that crazy. All right, so here's the idea, guys. We're putting together what we did yesterday with the shaded and the dashed or solid lines with this idea of having more than one on one graph. So I'm just going to give you one full example, and then I'll just show you a couple possibilities for if it's going to be no solution or infinite solutions. Don't worry, I can talk louder than the rain. So, two equations, or actually inequalities. I'm going to color code mine for the shading part. You can choose to do the same if you want. Y minus x minus 3 is less than or equal to 0. That's going to be our first one. And our second one, 2x plus 3y is greater than negative 6. We need to build an arc. I only need 2 humans. Who's going to come?
Me. I raised my hand first.
Okay. Boy, I need one boy and one girl. Okay, we're not building an arc. Shh, hands down. Back to math. It's just rain. Okay. First step, just like yesterday, let's get y by itself. I'm going to start with the one on the left. I'm going to do both steps at once, because all I need to do is do a plus x and a plus 3 on both sides. You can do it in separate steps if you want. I'm just trying to save a step here of writing. That will get the y by itself, and I get a positive x and a positive 3 on the right side. So again, first step, just like yesterday, I'm going to do it on the left equation. Now I'll do it on the one I'm doing in orange. Any questions on my first one? Okay. Now for the next one, I'm going to start by leaving the y alone, and I'm going to move the 2x first. So I start by subtracting 2x from both sides. I still have 3y, so that's not going to be finished yet. I'm going to put my x first, just so it more closely matches our slope-intercept form. And now the thing to remember, when we are going to divide by 3 here, is that we need to divide every piece by 3. If you don't divide every piece, you will end up with the wrong information that you're graphing. Now I have y by itself, and we can keep the fraction here, because this is slope. So we can keep it as negative 2/3. There's nothing wrong there. Don't turn it into a decimal. That's going to be hard to graph the slope of. And on the end, with our y-intercept, we can simplify this. Negative divided by positive makes a negative, and 6 divided by 3, of course, is 2. So here's our two inequalities. Remember, we're going to graph them just like we would regular equations using slope-intercept, except then we just follow our steps from yesterday with our shading and our dashed and solid lines. So you might need to look at your notes from yesterday for that part of it. Okay, so on your little square of graph paper, give yourself an XY axis. I'm going to just try to adjust mine so we can see everything on the screen at once. Now for this, the shading, let me just say we're putting 2 lines on one XY coordinate grid. The shading, I'm gonna suggest that you use colors, or I'll show you a way to do it with just pencil, but you really have to make sure that I can see and that you can see where the solutions are. And I'll show you what I mean when we do this first one. Okay, I think everybody looks ready. Let's start with the one that I have on the left in brown. I'm gonna start with the 3. That's our y-intercept. I go up to 3. I have a slope of 1. Positive 1 means up 1 over 1. Now, one thing you can do, once you're sure you have your right slope, if I look at this pattern, these little dots are just in the corner of every next square. So if you're trying to line up your ruler, you can just kind of look at the pattern and you don't necessarily even have to count off. You can just kind of match up that pattern. And where's my ruler? Where's this one? And then using a straight edge. Oh, before I do my line, because I'm doing it in pen, solid line or dashed line for this? Solid, because or equal to, right? Any or equal to, if it would have been a filled in circle on our number line, it's a solid line on our graph. Okay, so again, for that part, you might need to look at yesterday's notes, where I gave you that little step of how you decide if it's solid or dashed. Now, the shading. We need to figure out which side of the line to shade. Let me get that more in the center there. It says y is less than or equal to. So remember, we always start with where the line, oh shoot, I was going to try to do this in pencil so that I could, but my pencil is not sharpening very well. I broke my pencil sharpener. Which side of the line am I going to shade? If remember, I look at the y-axis first. Oh, hold on. Okay, pause. Hold that thought. Let me continue. Thank you for waiting. Okay. Has anybody decided which side we're going to shade? Down below, correct. If you were thinking this way, right, less than or equal to, I start here and I go, where are the y values less than? That would be down here. Now, I'm trying to do this in pencil so I don't totally cover up my graph. Oh, this brown pencil is not what I was hoping for. I want to color code it. You don't have to do colors. You can just do regular pencil. And I'll show you how you can do that to make the solution clear. Okay, it's a little bit messy. We are going to want to try to keep it kind of neat, but my pencil is not working out so good. If you have colored pencils today or you want to borrow mine, I'll pull out my bucket in the back. Okay, we've done number 1. Now we take our second one. I come over, I look at my y-intercept, it's -2, so I start down here at -2. Now my slope is either -2 over 3 or 2 over -3. Again, I'm going to do one of each. I'll start with the first one, a rise of -2, a run of +1, 2, 3, right here. Now here's why I tried to do pencil, the brown and pencil, because if I had used my pen, we wouldn't be able to see the graph anymore. We would have covered it up with our shading. Now I'm going to do the second one. I'm going to go back to my y-intercept, and I'm going to do now a rise of +2 and a run of -1, 2, 3. And I can see that these are going to intersect. If these weren't inequalities, if these were equations, I have my point of intersection, and that would be the only solution, would be this point where the two lines cross. Okay, now, I don't have an orange pencil, but I am going to use this. Now, for the orange line, we have to be careful because we already have some shading, but let's look at it. It says y is greater than. So again, I come back to my y-intercept and I go, where are the y values greater? Up above. Now, watch this as I shade. In fact, I'm going to try to do it. It would be this whole side. You can think of it as the upper or the right. So for the orange line, I am shading everything that's up here. And here's what should happen, is that you should have a section where the shading overlaps. It's a little hard to see because my brown pencil was kind of dying out down here on the bottom. but the brown was down here, but there's no orange down here. What that means is that a point down here would only make the brown inequality true. And this part up here where it was just orange, a point up here would only make the orange inequality true. This section where our shading overlapped, anything in here is a solution to both. Where the shading overlaps means any point in here will make both of them true. If you were going to test one, I'd probably use 0, 0. It's in that overlapping part. 0 is easy math. If you plug in 0 for x and 0 for y into both inequalities, both of them will be true. So you're basically following the exact same steps as yesterday, but with your shading, you are looking for this overlapping section. Now, if you wanted to just do pencil, if you're worried this is going to get messy like mine is, if you want to do pencil, let me just show you. Let's say we had, you don't have to write this down, let's say this one shaded down here, and this one shaded to the right. If you just want to do pencil, that's hard to see. All I'm going to ask you is wherever they both are, go over it and make it darker. Now I'm doing it really sloppy just to do it fast. Try not to be sloppy. I mean, this isn't art, so I'm not going to judge you on your pencil lines. But if you want to just do pencil, then what you need to do is just make sure to darken it up in that spot where the two parts of the shading overlap. If you want to do two colors like I did here, again, you might still need to darken it up with the colors to show this section is different than either of these two. Does that make sense? Okay, question? Thank you, I did mess that, I forgot. I was so excited to shade. Thank you, Kate was right. This orange line should be dashed. If yours is in pencil, you could just go back and erase little bits to make it dashed. Thank you for that, Kate. So excited to use my colors. I forgot my dashed line. Okay, you can have a piece of candy for noticing that and pointing it out. Leanna, question?
Can you use marker?
You can use marker if you want, just be careful. I didn't use marker here because if I had started with my brown when I first did my shading and I was like, woo, here I go. Then trying to graph in here, it's so dark that I can't really see my points. So you're welcome to use marker. I would suggest highlighters might work or light colored markers, yellows, orange, pinks, things like that. I'll also put out all my colored pencils or crayons in the back if you want to use those. So that's it. That's it.